about myself, but firstly, thank you very much for taking the time to join us here today. So a bit about me. I'm the CEO of EOACC. We are accountants and business advisors. We have got an office in the UK and an office in South Africa, and a little bit about us. We just like to think we are forward-thinking accountants. We like to embrace technology. We like to work with clients who very much want to know their numbers, really understand their numbers, and do forward-thinking planning. And I think that is really the key thing when Fritz, well, you're a client of ours, and then when we had the call and you started explaining about Amazon and the opportunities that it's going to create in South Africa, it was quite exciting. But definitely what stood out for me was just the kind of businesses that you're looking for, and to set this up, and that's where you were also trying to look at what values you need to look at, businesses, like-minded businesses that you align on values. So this is when we started chatting, and I thought this is a really good opportunity to do like a short webinar with you and just tell our clients a little bit about this, because it does sound like a very exciting opportunity. So Fritz, I think it's all about you and Flute SA and Amazon. So over to you. Maybe just do an introduction and tell us a little bit why you think this is the next big thing.
Thanks, Jacques. Just to pick up where you left off with our alignment with forward-thinkingness and shared values. It was definitely, I wasn't expecting it when I was searching for an accounting partner for Fluid SA to be able to mesh so well and to really look to keep adding value for our partners. So it's really awesome to connect this way, and I think it's a big benefit for anyone who gets to work together with us, if I can say so.
And
I'm grateful for it. So thank you for the opportunity. And just to give a brief intro about myself, but then to head into the Amazon topic, is that so I'm German originally. I was born in Germany and I spent a lot of time there, but I grew up also in California in the US. However, for the last 15 years, I've been living in South Africa. So it's clear that the Rainbow Nation is my preferred place. I love it here, and I'm very cautiously optimistic about the future. And I'm excited to be a part of it to whatever extent I can. So although I'm an economist by training, I used to work for an Amazon agency in Germany. They were one of the first Amazon agencies in Europe, and the first accredited Amazon marketing partner in Germany. In the meantime, they've grown into a massive firm, and what was so special for me was to be able to witness the success that they created for businesses of all shapes and sizes within Europe and America. So I watched and learned as they built brands, new distribution channels, which is essentially what Amazon offers, accessing a far wider customer base than any of these mainly German mid-sized companies could ever reach on their own, and actually growing their brands into seven-digit sales. So, and what really made me interested in it was for our partners, for our selling partners, our clients, it was essentially a passive income. So we would work on their Amazon business completely as a full service agency, covering every topic, every point of issue. And our partners would just focus on their business, developing their products, their own marketing, the other channels that exist. So that sort of synergy I thought was incredible and a huge value add for our partners. So when I learned about Amazon expanding into South Africa, when I heard the rumors first a couple of years ago already, it was almost a no-brainer to try launch an Amazon agency here. So we're supported by TRD Solutions, which is our partner in Germany that I used to be employed at, which has definitely helped a lot with having the best possible expertise here to help in the undeveloped Amazon market in South Africa. And yeah, it's been a really awesome experience so far. I would like to just mention to start off with 3 points about Fluid SA and elaborate on them, and then we can keep flowing from there.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so the first point is that we are a full service Amazon agency. So to the South African base or to anyone who's inexperienced with Amazon, that might not mean anything. But what that means is we cover everything from an initial extensive onboarding process of consultation and product preparation. So unless your product is compatible with e-commerce, issues like its packaging, like its shape, its branding, these kind of things, physical elements of your product may need to be considered. So that's one point. Then the preparation, the setup, the technical management, working on marketing, facilitating the logistics, customer feedback, advertising campaigns, promotions, inventory management, troubleshooting, all these sort of things are covered by a full service agency. So that's a distinction that's important if you connect with other agencies who mainly or maybe only do marketing or only logistics. So that's full service. The other point, which I'm proud to say, is that we were actually the first Amazon agency in South Africa. We already opened in 2022, which was, you could say, premature because there were only rumors of Amazon's plans. There was nothing official from Amazon themselves. There were also rumors of them launching into Nigeria, which has in the meantime fallen through or at least been postponed. So we can also take that as a great vote of confidence from Mr. Jeff Bezos himself in South Africa, which is, of course, the most industrialized country in our continent. And it definitely, if you take a long-term perspective, will be the gateway into Africa, which is why it's also a very interesting opportunity for our European and American partners to see the Amazon South Africa launch as a gateway into Africa as a whole, which will eventually be Amazon's plan. Yeah, and then the way that goes the other way, which is my other point, the last point of introduction for Fluid SA, is that a core competency of ours is internationalization. So the Amazon marketplace, the Amazon network, connects to over 130 countries logistically, and they're extremely successful in America, and of course in Europe too, also in Asia and Australasia. So South America, it's really all across the world. And by working with a top Amazon agency in Europe and helping businesses expand between Europe and America and these other continents I mentioned, we develop those best practices to really help businesses internationalize. So for our South African partners, it's been a great surprise for them that we're able to offer them this service. And they've also been very surprised at how easy it really is, because you would think that going global is very difficult. And it is if you maybe didn't have an agency to help you. But for us, if you've done it 100 times, it starts to, the systems are there. So it's a really cool opportunity for South African businesses to not only succeed on Amazon in South Africa, but think about the long term of going global with your business on Amazon.
Amazing. Yeah, huge opportunity. So basically you're going to try and save the SA economy, right?
Yeah.
You're going to try.
We're going to try, yeah.
Okay, good. That's good. That's very exciting. So, I mean, just in layman terms, so it's a huge operation. I think you mentioned the other day, like how many, there are what, 4,000, how many people are signing up in the States?
Every day, 4,000 sellers in America.
4,000 sellers are registering per day on Amazon. So it's a huge platform. It's a, would you say it's a tech company, right?
Definitely.
And it's complex. And so it's definitely, just in layman terms, this is not just somebody and saying, listen, I've got 3 plastic chairs, I want to start selling it, to then go on to Amazon. This is not the kind of business. This is not just plugging into their platform and it will sell. It's all algorithms and things that runs in the back end. You need to know what's happening, right?
Most certainly. Yeah, most certainly. So those that I would like to joke and say to our clients sometimes that it's not a get rich quick scheme. It's not plug and play and watch the success come. So the advantage that Amazon offers is that you can easily get your product into the platform. So the barrier to entry is technically very low because all you have to do is create an account and you can list your product. Okay, if you try to do it yourself, your product won't be listed so well, but nonetheless, you can do it. So that's opposed to traditional retailers where you have to pay extensively for shelf space, et cetera, et cetera. But the flip side of that is that there's huge traffic. So 4,000 sellers joining a day in the States alone, and it's massive growth globally too. So what that means is your products won't stand out unless you really invest and plan and prepare to have them optimally set up and managed within the algorithm of Amazon. So there's lots of tricks and practices that we've developed over the years. Amazon themselves admit that the Amazon algorithm is developed by PhDs for PhDs. So while we don't have any PhDs here at Fluid SA, we're a group of economists, computer scientists, and mechanical engineers who have become experts in the game, and that's based on experience. And so we have an Amazon PhD, perhaps.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I know Amazon's done a soft launch now.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Yes. I think that's a really important point for South Africans to realize, because I expected this disappointment to come, and it has happened, that many sellers and customers alike are frustrated with the fact that Amazon only has limited categories, for example. So some huge categories like fashion, like jewelry, like furniture, any ingestible, all of those are not yet live on Amazon South Africa. In addition, functionalities like Amazon Prime, like Amazon advertising, a lot of their consoles are not yet active. And this was certainly a disappointment for those who were expecting Amazon's launch here to be a furtherance of Amazon.com. Because interestingly, Amazon.com was actually the third most searched e-commerce website in South Africa for the last 10 years. So it's a very popular thing in South Africa, and that obviously Amazon knows that. I mean, they've had their web services running in this country for over 10 years already. So their research is in depth, and they are prepared to make a long-term investment into the country, and that's what's happening. So if you study case studies of Amazon's expansion in another country, like Poland or France, Belgium have been some of the more recent ones. It's the same blueprint. It's a blueprint that they perfected, and they roll out their additional features over time. And in that time, what also happens is the local competition, in our case, Takealot, gets squashed. That happened in France, it happened in Poland. Why wouldn't it happen in South Africa, which is a far smaller competitor than what Amazon faced in these other countries? So anyone thinking about the long term of their business, not just looking for a get-rich-quick scheme, anyone who is prepared to do the necessary research and preparation with us together, which we offer an extensive free consultation process just to make sure you really understand the profitability, the cost, what's necessary, what to expect. They can succeed on Amazon, and they should see Amazon as a long-term plan, because it's only going to grow in South Africa, which is exhibiting e-commerce growth rates that are faster than even the international average. So we're definitely bullish on e-commerce in South Africa.
Those things are looking good. So how would you describe the ideal business now for you to get in touch with you, or where that you can help, like your ideal client effectively?
Yeah. So in terms of which product is ideal, so anyone listening would think, is my product a good match? I think an important challenge that I'll raise to you is try and name a product that doesn't sell online. It's very difficult, because in the most established Amazon markets, everything from perishable foods to frozen drinks to other beverages to pharmaceuticals to large furniture is selling online. So any category can work, and the categories are constantly changing and growing. Bestsellers are coming and going. Any category can work, but the key is a quality product. So your product needs to leave a good impression with whoever buys it, enticing them to leave reviews and to come back as a new purchaser. These are the kind of things that are necessary for Amazon's algorithm to pick you up. So I would say the ideal partner for us, and not even for us, for your own success on Amazon, would be someone who's prepared to invest in Amazon, not necessarily a huge financial investment, but the investment of time and understanding that it's a marathon and not a sprint. And it takes certain steps of preparation to really get right. But in terms of product, it's a huge range.
Okay. And then those businesses, you need to have a solid, you need to be able to produce. You can't go and play on Amazon and say, I'm thinking about this product or do that. So you need to have quite a solid business operations. I think from our previous discussions, the key thing, which is going to be interesting for me to see how Amazon, because service, it's not just your products needs to be the right, it needs to be a good product, but your service also needs to be good, because they will just remove you from the platform if you don't deliver. And I think Africa, we're not used to good quality service, so this is going to be, I'm quite interesting to see how this plays out, because we're not used to it. That's just a cultural thing that we got accustomed to, and like they want to come with the quality, but this is also going to differentiate. You need solid businesses that can deliver good product. If you get a complaint, you need to reply, you need to get back to them, otherwise they will kick you off, right?
Yeah. So that's a great point. And it's not an exaggeration for me to say that we spend a significant amount of time on troubleshooting. So a lot of our partners will come to us, who are now our partners, and after they try to do it themselves. So Takealot is quite different, and that's the experience that a lot of South Africans have had with working on Takealot. I think it's a bit more user-friendly, and also the ceiling is lower. So on Amazon, there's far more scope to pick up your game, to implement back-end keywords, to plug into the algorithm, to do all these sort of technical data-driven things that we do. And on Amazon, which is a obsessively customer-centric platform, so if you read any of Amazon's statements, they're always just speaking about their customer, which is the people buying the products on their platform. And if they have any sort of smidge of a bad experience of technical mistakes with the setup, which our selling partners don't understand in the slightest, even we have to figure it out every time. But there's very small things that Amazon will be unhappy with, and then they'll deactivate your account. They'll deactivate your listings. They'll cause all these problems for you. So troubleshooting is any agency's bread and butter. Well, it should be, because it's definitely ours. And it's something that's also definitely shocking South Africans.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But that's gonna build confidence, and like when I buy from something on Amazon, because there's a lot of scams and things going on as well. So there's a huge amount of scams going on. It's picked up massively in the last couple of years. So you're going to be buying with confidence from Amazon, because people will be removed on the platform. So in layman terms, you're a marketing specialist for anybody that wants to go onto the Amazon. Just like you get a marketing specialist for Google AdWords and Facebook AdWords, you a marketing specialist for Amazon, right?
Yes, definitely. So that's cool. So the marketing component is definitely one of probably the biggest element of our service, because some people, marketing agencies especially, will say that marketing comes first, quality product comes second, close second, they might say. We think it's not quite like that. The product is the most important thing. But as I said, due to the size, the sheer volume of the competition on Amazon, without adequate marketing, you will have no visibility, you will have no traffic, and therefore you will have no conversions and no sales. So it's essential to do marketing campaigns and to really do them properly. So on Takealot, this is one of the big differences. The marketing campaigns they're not so sophisticated, whereas on Amazon, there's huge scope for really personalized research and campaign implementation. And we spend many hours per product doing research. What are the keywords? What are the competitors? What are consumers searching? And this is data that we can get, and then we'll implement marketing campaigns based on your keywords, which works in a pay-per-click model, which I don't need to explain in detail now, but it's akin to Google and others. And we make sure that we have the most cost-optimized keywords for you to drive the best results. And we'll actually go through a process of iteration, experimentation, A/B testing with different keywords, different campaigns. And when we find what works for you based on marketing expenditure ratios to sales, we can scale that. And that's how we reach 7-digit sales with so many of our partners in Europe and America. But here again, you can see patience is important. So Amazon is a marathon and not a sprint. And that's definitely an educational point for those new sellers looking to sell on Amazon.
Now, costs involved with all of this. Like, I mean, there's warehousing costs, because sometimes I know in other countries Amazon will stock it in their warehouses. You can ship directly from your own. Like, run through a cost with, you know, can you give us an idea about what's the price point or your cost and all the different elements of this?
So cost is, of course, the first point of conversation typically between us and our partners, and of course completely transparent on it. And one of the first things we actually work on with our partners is a 3-year business plan, which breaks down a profitability and cost analysis. Because selling online, there are numerous costs that maybe a seller wouldn't really know about, and then they're going to be surprised down the line. Of course, we know about all of them, and we have them all calculated and figured out. So we'll make sure with anyone we onboard that they're fully aware of everything that's going to come ahead, and that they actually can be profitable based on their product's margins. But the biggest things that eat into the margins are, well, Amazon off the bat charges up to 15, or depending on the category, far more, but usually it's around 15% referral fee. Referral fee for using their platform, they'll take 15% of selling price, just like that. Then logistics are, of course, going to be a significant expense. So there are different logistic options. If you fulfill orders yourself, if you use your own warehousing or your own storage and your own shipping, then that's, of course, your cost. But you can also use Amazon fulfillment by Amazon. So that's what I mentioned is connected to over 130 countries in the world. And like we said before, like you noted actually, is that Amazon is a logistical business. That's what they're experts in. And of course, that's also a cost. However, due to their economies of scale, that cost is very reasonable, and it's actually highly competitive. But that's, of course, another factor. You could call that, I don't want to say a percentage because it depends on the margins, but that's a significant one. Then the other most significant expenditure, especially for the first 2 years even, is marketing. So the marketing, the PPC campaigns, that's going to be an important, an essential expenditure for your Amazon business. And to cover our agency costs, because now you may be thinking, okay, how about you? What do you cost? So we actually take a commission, which we've decided to do that based on, I mean, it's a pretty popular method for most leading Amazon agencies, but it really shows our confidence in our abilities. So unless you're selling really well based on our efforts, we won't be getting paid very well. So we're completely incentivized, and we have the skin in the game to actually to build your brand as best as we can. So yeah, it's really worked well for South African businesses too, which have been often a lot smaller than our previous clients, but we still find solutions for them. So I'm really happy that I can be fully transparent on these costs, because it's a point of happiness within ourselves.
That's cool. And I mean, that's where I know we align, because you want business that's interested in numbers. You need to know your numbers. You know, you need to be willing. I mean, you can help them with marketing side, but you need to know your production. You need to know how many you can produce. You need to know, very much where I know we align. You know, this is the type of clients that we want to work with as well. You got to be real time, know your numbers. You know, it's a huge investment. And what's the numbers like? What's the success rate of businesses registering on the platform in other countries?
Yeah, so this also speaks into the importance of doing it properly, and the fact that it's not a get-rich-quick scheme or just put them on and watch the numbers come. Because after 1 year, it's said that 2/3 of Amazon businesses are not profitable yet, even after a full year of selling on the platform. So yeah, that shows you that issue. And I also just thought, based on what you said now, of the numbers driven and having partners that respect and appreciate that approach, which is a point that we really loved about your business, about EOACC, and how we hope to partner and maybe work together in the future with working on establishing systems like stock systems, like really monitoring accounting carefully, all these sorts of things that we can really give a really high value add and comprehensively take care of everything. So it's awesome.
Use technology to automate it as much as possible and use your skill set to, knowing your clients and your businesses to do the analysis really and figure out where to go next. But I have to just say back, I mean, it's so exciting just for local businesses now, focus on the SA market. So just to get back to that, like what's the advantage now of joining now?
Thank you. So what we've been calling it in South Africa is a first mover advantage. So, and it's very clear to us, but essentially the foundation of that advantage rests on the soft launch, as we called it. So as of now, Amazon, which is a truism, it's a fact, Amazon is the least saturated it ever will be in South Africa. So as time progresses, sellers and merchants will flock to the platform internationally. Already we're setting up dozens of clients from Asia. They're coming from all over the world to sell on the Amazon's latest platform. So if you think about anyone in the Amazon community internationally, they all know that South Africa is the newest launch, and it's a gold rush. People will immigrate to a new country based on Amazon's launch.
I can imagine.
So this first mover advantage has to do with that. And how I mentioned marketing is typically a big expenditure on Amazon. In this initial stage of less competition, especially if we can generate organic traffic with our keyword optimization processes, then you'll be able to spend far less on marketing and actually still get results. So typically there's this chicken egg problem that in order to get sales, you actually need sales, because without sales, you're not going to rank high and then you won't get sales, but you can only rank high with sales. So usually you have to use marketing to essentially buy sales, but this is maybe a bit of a shortcut around it. So there's a big first mover advantage in South Africa. Basically a chance for businesses to grow with Amazon, grow together with the business here. And I've spoken to you before about some of the statistics of South Africa. I mean, 30 million users are active online, and it's growing 10% year over year. It's also growing faster than the international average of e-commerce sales. I mean, around 2018, 19, 20, e-commerce revenue in South Africa was 50, 60, 40%. I mean, that's insane, year over year. Now it's kind of equalized down to 12% again, but still, I mean, at a 12% growth rate, I think after 6 years, you've doubled. So the size of the e-commerce market in South Africa, it's growing. It's doubling every 6 years. That's why Amazon.
Huge opportunity.
It's a huge opportunity. I mean, it's like I said, it's almost a no-brainer.
What I also like how you described it before to me, in an earlier call that we had, just about like how this is exactly like setting up a shop.
Yes.
And so basically, if you join now, you're just going to be the first shop in the neighborhood in the country. You're just going to be early, and there's that you should benefit from that. We've got 4 more minutes. I've got just 1 or 2 questions I want to get through there, but just one more question from you before we go to that. So what is the ideal business? Would it be a manufacturer in South Africa, or would it be somebody who imports stuff from other places and already selling that in South Africa?
Yeah, so like I said, in terms of the broad applicability of products that can work on Amazon, as long as your business has an established system of their products which are high quality, irrespective of whether they manufacture them or source them. We've worked with both and achieved high success with both. So on top of my head, one of our top selling clients in South Africa is a manufacturer. Then another one is they source all their products from Europe, bring them here, high quality products, because Amazon's also South Africa's